Hello, my name is Dr. Ridwan Fontaine. I teach Islamic management at IIUM, and we are continuing our discussion on the second part of Surah Al Imran. So this is quite a long part. There's about 70 ayat, and in the previous video we talked about ayat 55, which is the center of the ayat. But the logic is actually quite interesting. And so there are four things which are being emphasized in this section. First of all is consistency. So all the prophets talked about the same thing, right? But as far as the Christians are concerned, Isa alayhi salam is the only one who talked about being the Son of God. So that's not consistent with the other prophets that the Christians believe in. So that's kind of the first thing that is being mentioned. The second thing is the importance of truth faith. So believing in God is not enough. It's okay, if you believe in God, that's fine. You still have to worship God. You still have to be just to the people, right? So if you believe in God, but then you are corrupt to the people, or you're cheating, you're lying, and whatever, that's not true faith. So the idea that faith is not only about believing in God, but how you live that life, and whether or not you are just to people around you, that's a very important part of the discussion, right? Because just to add something there, the Christian idea of salvation is you just have to believe in Isa. That's it. If you lie, cheat, whatever, they say, well, it doesn't matter, at least you believe in Isa. That's not acceptable in Islam. If you believe in God, then you have to deal with the people justly. The third thing, which is probably the most interesting, is what this part of the surah is teaching us is don't argue with people. Find common ground. And the thing that Muslims have in common with the Christians is Nabi Ibrahim. So whatever effort of da'wah you have, it should always come back to, okay, let's talk about Nabi Ibrahim. What are the lessons that we can learn from Nabi Ibrahim? And there are two things which are being emphasized in this part. First of all, life is a series of tests to be overcome. And Nabi Ibrahim was committed to the truth, even if it made us unpopular, right? So very often the challenge is we know what is the right thing to do, but if we do the right thing, it will make us unpopular. So we struggle to do the right thing because we don't want to be unpopular, right? And so the lesson from Nabi Ibrahim is, never mind, just do the right thing. And then the last point is also quite interesting. Avoid distractions. So in order to justify their corruptions, the different rabbis had so many different arguments to say, oh, what about this, what about this, what about that, what about this, what about this, what about that. And all of these arguments were not real arguments. They were really an attempt to distract you from the real issue. So the point that is being made is that if you understand the logic of the Quran, you will not be caught with all these distracting points. You always go back to the main point. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in the prophets? If you believe in the prophets, do you believe in Nabi Ibrahim? Okay, what do you learn from Nabi Ibrahim? You always go back to these points, right? One of the things that I want to kind of focus on this is something which I think is really interesting. And it's difficult to explain just like that. You actually have to read in some detail. But this part of Surah Al Imran is actually very, very soft towards the Christians, right? So the approach to dawah is actually to be soft with people. But the approach of the Quran to the Christians is to be super, super, super soft, right? The Quran recognizes that Christians are very spiritual people, and they have a very, very soft heart. So you don't have to be harsh with them. You just have to tell them the story of Nabi Ibrahim. You have to tell them the story of Isa alayhi salam. You have to tell them the story of Maryam, and that will make them appreciate what Islam has to offer, right? So if you are thinking in terms of dawah, and especially dawah to the Christian, the message of the Quran is always very simple. You have to be super, super, super soft. Okay? We'll continue our discussion next video. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.